Travel. Do you like traveling? Yeah, absolutely. I would say that traveling is what I like to do the most in my spare time, or as long as I have a week off, or if I have 10 days off. For example, I just came back from a holiday in Japan. I went to Nagoya, Kyoto, and Tokyo. Did I go to Tokyo this time? Yeah, I think I did. I went to Tokyo with some of my friends. We had a great time there, sightseeing, shopping, and trying Japanese food. So yeah, traveling is really awesome. Which cities or countries have you traveled to? Well, I've been to tons of places before, both inside China and outside China. As for the countries I've visited before, they include Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Italy, and a few other countries. I think out of these, my favorite country must be Italy. I mean, it's a country with a lot of history. The views there are amazing. So yeah, when I was in Italy, I definitely had a great time. Where do you plan to go in the future? Well, the next country that I plan on visiting is the United States. I really want to go to California because I've been longing to go to the Universal Studios in California. It's a place, it's kind of like my dream place. I'd like to go there and see the Harry Potter Wizarding World because personally I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, so going there will be a dream come true. Which place you've traveled to left the deepest impression on you? Oh, the place that left the deepest impression on me. I've talked about a few places just now, like Italy, like Japan, but the place that was the most impressive was, God, let me think of it. It's pretty hard to think of just one place because I've been to loads of places before that were absolutely stunning, gorgeous, spectacular. You know, just many of those places were so good. They were everything. Sorry, I really can't think of just one place.
Do you like traveling? Absolutely. I love discovering new places both abroad and in my local area too. Which cities have you traveled to? I've been to plenty of cities in China, including Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou. The major hubs always offer lots of attractions, sights, and other points of interest. What kind of cities do you like to travel to? I'm a fan of both modern and historical cities, so Shanghai is one of my favourite cities because it has a bustling, impressive modern side, as well as a traditional, historical side, so it's the best of both. What's the place that left the deepest impression on you when travelling? Probably Beijing, thanks to its proximity to the world-famous Great Wall of China, as well as its amazing attractions, such as the Forbidden City, the Temple of Heaven, and the Summer Palace. Those places really blew me away.
Do you like traveling? Yeah, I like traveling a lot because it pushes me to my limits and gets me outside my comfort zone. Do you like traveling? I don't think I'm so into it. Packing, public toilets, and flight delays really niggle at me every time I go away. Have you ever traveled to the other cities? Yes, I've been to tons of different cities, home and abroad, since I was a little kid. Those trips left me unforgettable memories and sort of, shaped my view of the world. Where do you want to travel to and why? I feel like visiting the Arctic, because it's so different from the other places in the world. It's a chance to spot the majestic polar bear in its natural environment and see the best northern lights show on Earth. Are you going to work in other cities? Yeah, I'm planning on it and probably will start my new job and life in the dynamic city Shenzhen by the end of this year. Are you going to work in other cities? No, I'm quite content with my current life here. I got a group of friends in the city who have a lot in common with me. They are my world. Do you want to work in the countryside in the future? I want to, but saying is one thing and doing is another. Currently, I have to stick to my job in the city so as to acquire richer resources in all aspects. Do you want to work in the countryside in the future? No, absolutely not. Though countryside means fresh air and bigger space, the rich resources in the city is irreplaceable and even a must-have for most people. What is the best place you've been to? I would say Shanghai. Compared to the other mega cities, Shanghai is a mixture of Chinese tradition and international leading culture. Everyone can find his suitable and comfortable position in this magic city.
Travel. Do you like traveling? Yes, I love traveling. I can expand my horizons, like learning about new culture and meeting people from different parts of the world. Also, I can visit some famous attractions, like the Great Wall in Beijing. What kind of cities do you like to travel to? Well, I would like to travel to some metropolitan cities, such as Tokyo or Shanghai. I mean, there's always something going on. For example, I can do some shopping in big malls or try various cuisines in different restaurants. Which cities have you traveled to? Actually, I traveled to many cities, like Paris and Berlin. I can still remember when I was in primary school, I traveled to Europe with my family. What's the place that left you the deepest impression when traveling? Well, there are many places that I really enjoy staying in, but the one that left me the deepest impression is definitely London. First of all, there are a lot of famous attractions, like the Big Ben, the London Eye, the Tower Bridge, and the British Museum, and you name it. So I took lots of beautiful pictures there. In addition, I tried some incredible local food, like fish and chips. So the most memorable city for me is absolutely London in the UK.
What form of transport do you prefer to use and why? I prefer travel by car because it means that I have my own space. Also, the bus and trains in my city are usually overcrowded. My car is much more comfortable. How much time do you spend traveling on a normal day? I probably spend about an hour and a half traveling to and from work. I travel during rush hours, so there is quite a lot of traffic. What do you do while you're traveling? I usually listen to the radio or a CD. In the morning, I like to listen to the news to find out what is happening in the world. Do you ever have a problem with transport? Yes, as I said, I get stuck in traffic on my way to and from work. I used to get annoyed by traffic jams, but now I'm used to them. Do you like traveling? You bet. I'm a big fan for traveling around. I spend a month altogether each year to go somewhere else. I feel that is not only an indispensable part of my life, but also can culture my mental development. In which season do you prefer to travel? I guess the autumn is the best time to travel, as it is neither too hot nor too cold. People will feel comfortable to go out. Besides, as the foliage of trees will turn yellow or red, you will find the picturesque views all around you. Wherever you go, you will experience a memorable trip. Would you say your country is a good place for travelers to visit? Yes, Chinese people are renowned for their hospitality to visitors, and there are also numerous tourist attractions around the country. For instance, you can visit the natural landscape to see the picturesque views, or you can go to historic relics to know the events through the long Chinese history. Or you can go just stay at the metropolises to experience the local people's lifestyle.
Do you like traveling? Yeah, I'm a big fan of traveling. Every journey I have experienced give me a new perspective to see the world and broaden my horizon. What kind of cities do you like to travel? I like the cities with beautiful sceneries and long histories. I can give you an example. Taipei in Taiwan. It's a very beautiful city. All the streets are very clean and well laid out. And the native people told me that all the external walls of the buildings will be washed more than once in a year. And there are also many Chinese restaurants sell delicious Chinese traditional snacks and drinks which I hadn't eaten in mainland China. The taste of this food are fabulous and take my breath away. So I really like Taipei for the food. It is a beautiful street. Which part of the travel you think is the most important in your trip? I think the people who I travel with is the most important part in my trip. Actually, my travel partner has always been my husband, and we create new memories and refresh our marriages. Through traveling together. I have to confess that I'm a really lazy person in traveling, so my husband takes care of me, and he is also the person who makes the traveling plans. He chooses hotels and decided transportation and the visiting sites, and he also has a good nose for delicious food. And what's more, and this is the most important, he's very good at photography. I really like the pictures he took for me because I look very gorgeous in these pictures.
What kinds of cities do you like to travel to? The large cities, I can say, such as Shanghai, Beijing, or Guangzhou. 2 reasons. Number 1, loads of shopping centers can be found in the city. This is really important to me, since I will have the opportunity to explore myself. Like the coffee shop, supermarket, different kinds of restaurants or such. It must be a wonderful place to me. Number 2, in large area, the improved public transportation is another point they like to talk about. It would take me to anywhere that I want. By the way, the price seems more reasonable. So as I've mentioned above, I'll feel much happier living in super big area or city. So that's it.
Okay, here is the part 1 topic of travel. Let's have a listen.
Travel. Do you like traveling? Yeah, absolutely. I would say that traveling is what I like to do the most in my spare time, or as long as I have a week off, or if I have 10 days off.
Yeah, I'm not sure the time off, or spare time rather. Spare time and having a week or 10 days off, that's not the same thing. Spare time is like during your weekdays when you have some time that you're free. Spare time and holidays, not the same thing. But anyway, if you look at the structure, there's a very definite answer in the beginning, and then he goes on to exemplify that. He says, yeah, if I have this time off, I like to go on holidays. Then he goes on into an example, which is a pretty long example.
I have a week off, or if I have 10 days off. For example, I just came back from a holiday in Japan. I went to Nagoya, Kyoto, and Tokyo. Did I go to Tokyo this time?
Okay, and he has some sort of little argument with himself, which is okay. Maybe a little conversation with himself.
Yeah, I think I did. I went to Tokyo with some of my friends. We had a great time there, sightseeing, shopping, and trying Japanese food. So yeah.
And he is consistent with the gerunds. We had a great time there. ing, and a little summary at the end, which I don't think is really necessary in part 1.
Japanese food. So yeah, traveling is really awesome. Which cities or countries have you traveled to? Well, I've been to tons of places before, but...
Okay, so here's some idiomatic language. Tons of places.
Inside China and outside China. As for the countries I've visited before, they include Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Italy, and a few other countries.
Okay, so lots of examples.
I think out of these, my favorite country.
And look, he's not asked to identify his favorite country, but he does that anyway. Why not? Personalize part one, make it your own. And he says, out of these, my favorite. Look at the sentence structure here.
Must be Italy. I mean, it's a country with a lot of history. The views there are amazing.
And moving to the present tense, because Italy is still a country with a lot of history, the views there are still amazing. So present tense.
So yeah, when I was in Italy,
Moving back to the past tense, because this is his past experience.
I definitely had a great time.
And again, a little summary at the end. Again, I think it's not necessary. It doesn't hurt because he's a very fluent speaker. But if you're not so fluent, it might sound to the examiner like you are just repeating what you said before.
Where do you plan to go in the future? Well, the next country that I plan on visiting
Plan on VING.
is the United States. I really want to go to California because I've been longing to go to the Universal
And switching the grammar to the present perfect, I've been longing to go there.
Studios in California. It's a place, it's kind of like my dream place. I'd like to go there and see the the Harry Potter Wizarding World because personally I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter.
And here he uses personally correctly because some people are not fans of Harry Potter. But he says, personally, I am a fan. That's his opinion on Harry Potter.
So going there will be a dream come true.
And here... Nope, nothing. Let's move on.
Which place you've traveled to left the deepest impression on you?
Not sure this is a real question, but anyway.
Oh, the place that left the deepest impression on me. I've talked about a few places just now, like Italy, like Japan.
Referring back to what he mentioned before.
But the place that was the most impressive was, God, let me think of it. It's pretty hard to think of just one place because I've been to loads of places. But
So earlier he said tons of places. Now he says loads of places. So he's switching up the words. Again, this is not paraphrasing. This is just having a wide vocabulary.
four that were absolutely stunning, gorgeous, spectacular. You know, just many of those places were so.
Because obviously he has a great vocabulary. Look at these adjectives. Stunning, gorgeous, spectacular. Do you need that many? Well, no. But if you want to show off, why not use the adjectives you know?
good. They were everything. I'm sorry, I really can't think of just one place.
Do you like travelling?
Well, I think we know what to expect from this guy.
Absolutely. I love discovering new places both abroad and in my local area too.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Okay, so he loves traveling abroad. He doesn't talk about any experience that he's had traveling abroad. He talks about traveling in his local area. Doesn't tell us anything about that. And what about in between? What about traveling nationally? It doesn't have to be international travel, local travel. What about national travel? Tell us, like, where did you go? What did you see?
Which cities have you travelled to? I've been to plenty of cities in China, including Shanghai.
Okay, so the other guy used tons and loads. He goes with plenty.
Beijing, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou. The major hubs always offer lots of attraction.
I don't know what kind of hubs these are. Does he mean they are transportation hubs or what?
Sites and other points of interest.
That's it. Okay, they offer lots of attractions. Like what? Points of interest. Like what? I mean, you mentioned 4 places. Talk a little bit about some of them.
What kind of cities do you like to travel to? I'm a fan of both modern and historical cities.
Okay, so not a bad idea to group the cities into these two. Modern and historical ones?
So Shanghai is one of my favorite cities because it has a bustling, impressive modern side, as well as a traditional, historical side. So it's the best of both.
Okay, it's an interesting approach, talking about two sides of the same coin, the modern side and the historical side. What's lacking, though, as always, is examples. So what traditional features does Shanghai have? And what is so modern about it? After listening to him, I still don't know.
What's the place that left the deepest impression on you when traveling? Probably Beijing, thanks to its proximity to the world-famous Great Wall of China.
Okay, so we have an adjective going with the noun. Good adjective. Definitely goes with the noun, world famous.
As well as its amazing attractions,
Another adjective that goes with the noun.
such as the Forbidden City, the Temple of Heaven, and the Summer Palace. Those places really blew me away.
Okay, so here at the end, again, an idiom really blew me away. If you are really impressed with something, then it blows you away. Or it blows your mind. You can also say that. But again, I mean, I kind of know where the Forbidden City is. I kind of know about the Summer Palace, but I don't know about the Temple of Heaven. So I want to choose one of these three places and tell the examiner about them.
Do you like traveling? Yeah, I like traveling a lot because it pushes me to my limits and gets me outside my comfort zone.
I did like the accent when she said comfort zone. Let's see, it pushes me to my limits. What is she, mountain climbing? Gets me outside my comfort zone. Yeah, that's a good phrase. I don't exactly know what she means by this. How does it push you to your limits?
Do you like traveling?
I guess this is the alternative answer.
I don't think I'm so into it. Packing, public toilets, and flight delays really niggle at me every time I go away.
Every time I go away. Okay. Niggle. So if something annoys you, it is a niggle, or it niggles at you. You can use it as a verb or a noun. It's an annoyance, or it annoys you. Oh, short answers here.
Have you ever traveled to the other cities?
There's no the here.
Yes, I've been to tons of different cities, home and abroad, since
Here, her pronunciation is letting her down a little bit. She's dropping some syllables. It's abroad, not broad.
I was a little kid. Those trips left me unforgettable memories.
And here, there's also a missing word. Those trips left me with unforgettable memories. With.
Unforgettable memories and sort of, shape my view of the world.
And that's the end? No, we've got to go deeper. Come on, I've been to tons of cities. Like, which cities? So I traveled to city X, and in this city I learned that, and that changed my opinion on. You can't just say it shaped my view of the world and then not go into it. Like, which city did you travel to? What did you see there? How did that influence you? What did that make you think of? What did that make you consider?
Where do you want to travel to and why?
And why?
I feel like visiting the Arctic because it's so different from the other places in the world.
Okay, interesting choice.
It's a chance to spot the majestic polar bear in its natural environment and see the best northern lights show on Earth.
The grammar here is really accurate. And look at the use of adjectives. No, not here. Where are we? Here we go. Majestic polar bear, natural environment, best northern light show. Nice use of adjectives.
Are you going to work in other cities?
It's a very strange question. What does this have to do with travel? Again.
Yeah, I'm planning on it and probably will start my new job and life in the dynamic city Shenzhen by the end of this year.
Is this it? This is it. What? Why is it so short? What are you going to do in Shenzhen? Talk about your new life. I mean, it sounds like you're pretty excited about it. You call the city dynamic, so go into what you're going to do there.
Are you going to work in other cities? No.
Okay, here's the alternative answer.
I'm quite content with my current.
This word is content. I'm quite content.
life here. I got a group of friends in the city who have a lot in common with me. They are my world.
I'm guessing this is it. Yep, that's it. So is it only friends? Is that the only thing keeping you there? How about your job? Any other factors? What's the major attraction of this city? What's the pull?
Do you want to work in the countryside in the future?
What does this have to do with travel?
I want to, but saying is one thing and doing is another. Currently, I have to stick to my job in the city so as to acquire richer resources in all aspects.
I don't even know what this means. I mean, if you look at the words, they seem to make sense, but as a whole, what is she saying? Okay, I want to, but saying is one thing, doing is another. Okay, this is a nice expression. Currently, I have to stick to my job, stick with my job in the city. That is okay, except she used the wrong preposition. This, I don't know what she's talking about. What do people acquire from their job that's a resource? I can only think of money. Money is the only resource, right? I mean, I suppose knowledge or skills, yeah, manpower, maybe that's a resource. But what is she saying here? This does not make any sense.
Do you want to work in the countryside in the future? No, absolutely not. Though countryside
The countryside.
means fresh air and bigger space, the rich resources and the
She's going back to the rich resources. I don't know what resources mean to her in her mind, but it means something different to me.
resources in the city is irreplaceable.
Okay, now resources are accountable, so this has to be are. Resources are irreplaceable. I don't know what that means. Example. I mean, you don't need to explain the words. You don't need to give us the definition of words. But examples, like let's say you use the wrong word, then the examiner is not going to follow what you're saying. If you give an example, maybe they can figure out what you're talking about, even if you do use the wrong word. So please give us an example of these irreplaceable resources.
What is the best place you've been to?
Back to travel.
I would say Shanghai. Compared to the other mega cities, Shanghai is a mixture of Chinese tradition and international leading culture.
What on earth is international leading culture? Is there an international culture? Don't know what this means.
Everyone can find his suitable and comfortable position in this magic city.
Okay, she's a bit heavy on the adjectives. Magic city, that's fine. Can find his suitable and comfortable position. What is she saying? Is she talking about jobs? Position? I usually associate position with a job. Maybe she means place. Everyone can find their own place in this city. Place just means like your place in life. I don't know why it's got to be comfortable. I think I mentioned this before. In English, we don't use the word comfortable as much as Chinese speakers do. This is not the best place to be using comfortable. Okay, so everyone can find their own place in this magic city. So why? Why can everybody find their own place? Is it because there's so many opportunities? What's the reason? I guess so. If there are a lot of opportunities, everyone can find a station in life, a position. No, not position. Everyone can find a station in life. Everyone can find a place that suits them. Okay. Now here, the mixture of Chinese and Chinese traditional culture, that's fine. This, I don't know about.
Travel. Do you like traveling? Yes, I love traveling. I can expand my horizons, like learning about new culture and meeting people from different
Bit of a slip there. It's not meeping, it's meeting, right?
the world. Also, I can visit some famous attractions, like the Great Wall in Beijing.
Not a bad
What
answer.
kind of cities do you like to travel to?
Okay.
Well, I would like to travel to some metropolitan cities, such as Tokyo.
Isn't every city metropolitan? Isn't that like the definition of a city?
Or Shanghai. I mean, there's always something going on. For example, I can do some shopping in big malls where
There's always something going on. That's wonderful. There are always some events. But something going on would be like an exhibition or some performance or something that's scheduled. Going shopping is not an event. It's not a good example.
try various cuisines in different restaurants.
Also, going to the restaurant is not an event.
Which cities have you traveled to? Actually, I traveled to many cities, like Paris and Berlin. I can still remember when I was in primary school, I traveled to Europe with my family.
This really does sound like travel to me. It doesn't sound like traveled. Is that it? So he's not going to say anything else? So what do you remember about Paris? What do you remember about Berlin? Did you have a good experience? He doesn't really go into it. Or maybe it was a long time ago and you can't really remember. If it's a long time ago and you can't remember, say that. Give the examiner some language to grade.
What's the place that left you the deepest impression when traveling?
Okay, he had some trouble with this question, but he got it out in the end.
Well, there are many places that I really enjoy staying in.
Why is it staying in and not traveling to? Staying in sounds like a hotel or something, accommodation.
But the one that left me the deepest impression is definitely London. First of all, there are a lot of famous attractions, like the Big Ben,
I believe it's just Big Ben, not the Big Ben.
the London Eye, the Tower Bridge, and the British Museum.
Also, I think Tower Bridge is just the... And also, why is there no comma there? That's my bad. Let's fix that. Okay.
You name it. So I
You name it. Okay.
took lots of beautiful pictures there. In addition, I tried some incredible local food,
Why try not tried?
like fish and chips. So the most memorable city for me is absolutely London in the UK.
Okay, so we have some summary here in the end. I don't think that's really necessary. I mean, this answer wasn't that long, so you don't need that summary at the end. But this is maybe his best answer. Let's see. He started very generally. There are lots of places. Then he narrowed it down. He told us the best one is London. He gave some examples of what you can do there. He went on to explain something else he did there. He exemplified it. Another thing, the food, and we have this little summary at the end. I don't think this is necessary because he already told us here it's definitely London. But the structure in this answer is really good. Well, the best of all of these ones we've heard from him.
What form of transport do you prefer to use and why? I prefer travel by car
I prefer to travel by car.
because it means that I have my own space. Also, the bus and trains in my city are usually overcrowded.
Now, why is she using the adjective eerily? I mean, eerie means like it's creepy, like spooky. Are there many ghosts? I don't think so.
My car is much more comfortable. How much time do you...
Oh, hang on a second. I mean, if you do want to talk about how crowded the, what did you say, buses, right? The buses and the trains. I mean, if you do want to use some good vocabulary, instead of using this very odd adverb, why not say the buses and the trains of my city are really packed? So you really have to squeeze into the train or the bus. Use packed, maybe use squeeze.
much more comfortable? How much time do you spend traveling on a normal day?
I think now we're talking about commuting and not really traveling as a holiday activity.
I probably spend about an hour and a half
Okay, so you went for hour, never came out.
traveling to and from work.
Okay, so here maybe she could use the word commute.
I travel during rush hour.
I guess this is supposed to be travel, but I don't know what she said. It sounded a bit strange.
Hours, so there is quite a lot of traffic. What do you do while you're traveling? I will listen to the radio
Usually. And here we see her saying the instead of the.
or a CD. In the morning, I like to listen to the news to find out what is happening in the world.
Okay. I mean, if you don't want to say listen to the news, you could say what. If you don't want to say to find out what's going on, rather, you could say I listen to the news to catch up with the latest events.
Do you ever have a problem with transport? Yes, as I said, I get stuck in traffic on my way to and from work. I used to get annoyed by traffic jams, but now I'm used to them.
I do like the way she said, but now I'm used to them. Very nice.
Do you like traveling? You bet. I'm a big fan for traveling.
Fan. Wait a second.
Fan for traveling around.
I'm a big fan of.
I spend a month altogether each year to go somewhere else.
Oh. Altogether, I spend about a month each year going somewhere else. This altogether needs to be at the beginning of the sentence. Altogether, I spend about a month each year going somewhere else.
To go somewhere else. I feel that is not only an indispensable part of my life, but also can culture my mental development.
Whoa, why is culture a verb? Culture is not a verb. You can't culture something unless you're talking about, like, I don't know, biology. But this doesn't work. Also, I don't know what she means by mental development. This is the wrong verb. I don't know what the noun means. Mental development. Is she talking about the development of her brain? I don't know. She's using the vocabulary very inappropriately here.
In which season do you prefer to travel?
Season.
I guess the autumn is the best time to travel, as it is neither too hot nor too cold.
Hot.
People will feel comfortable
Comfortable.
out. Besides, as the foliage of trees will turn yellow or red, you will find the picturesque views all around
Picturesque.
you. Wherever you go, you will experience a memorable trip.
Let's look at the question. In which season do you prefer to travel? You. Now, in the first sentence, she says autumn is the best time to travel, but then she doesn't talk about herself at all. I would say she didn't really answer the question. Now, these are good reasons, because the temperature is more moderate in autumn. People will feel comfortable to go out. Again, this comfortable, I don't know what she means by this. We don't use comfortable as much in English as you do in Chinese. Is she talking about the temperature? It's a pretty comfortable temperature in which to go out. The foliage of the trees. I think you can just say the foliage. Let's drop the trees. Oh, okay. So, besides, you can see the seasons change. The seasons change. The leaves turn to yellow or red. What is going on with this sentence?
Yellow or red.
Why is the or in the wrong place? Let's fix that. Good grief. Okay, so the seasons change, the leaves turn yellow or red. You can find, well, who's the you? You're supposed to talk about yourself. You're not supposed to talk about other people. Make part 1 about yourself, especially if the question asks about you. Sometimes in part 1, there are questions that are more general, but this is not one of them.
Would you say your country is a good place for travelers?
Places are countable, so it's got to be a.
Is it? Yes. Chinese people are renowned for their hospitality to...
Whoa, she's kind of stumbled over her tongue there.
For their hospitality to...
The word is hospitality. Now, this is a great phrase to use. Renowned for their hospitality. It's a great phrase. Too bad she mispronounced it.
visitors. And there are also numerous Tourist attractions around
Tourist attractions are countable. There are numerous tourist attractions.
the country. For instance, you can visit the natural landscape to see the picturesque views, or you can go to historic relics to know the events through the long Chinese history.
Some stress there on long. It's not bad, but we don't see a whole lot of that, right? It's not know, it's to learn about. So you can go visit these historic relics. You can go visit these historic relics to learn about the long Chinese history.
Through the long Chinese history. Or you can go to stay at the metropolises.
Stay where?
At the metropolises.
Metro places? I don't know. That can't be right, because this doesn't make sense then.
To experience the local people's lifestyle.
If it's people, why is it But really, this is the problem. Because this mispronunciation means we can't understand the whole phrase.
Do you like traveling? Yeah, I'm a big fan of traveling. Every journey I have experienced give me a new perspective to see the world and broaden my horizon.
This is the kind of answer I hate. This kind of memorized answer. No personal examples. I mean, this is something anybody can say. Examiners hate these kinds of answers.
What kind of cities do you like to travel? I like
To.
the cities with beautiful scenery
I'm guessing there are going to be no examples here.
and long histories. I can give you an example.
I guess I was wrong.
Taipei in Taiwan.
Interesting.
It's a very beautiful city.
It is?
All the streets are very clean and well laid out.
Okay, look at this here. The streets are clean, the streets are well laid out. Very nice grammar, very nice vocabulary.
And the natives,
But then she says lative, and it's native. And why is it native people? Native means like, kind of like aboriginal, the indigenous people. I think she means to say the local people, not the native people. There's a difference between local and native.
people told me that all the external walls of the buildings will be washed more than once in a year.
This I don't even understand. Is this a thing? Is she saying in China people don't wash their buildings? What? But anyway, external walls, rather. The word is external, and this word is walls. Okay, so the facade. Facade is the outside of a building. So in Taipei, the facades of the buildings are washed more than once a year. It's a very, I'm going to say interesting. It's a very interesting thing to say. I didn't know in China they didn't do this.
And there are also many Chinese restaurants
selling
sell delicious Chinese traditional snacks and drinks,
Okay, so here we see the pace is getting a bit slow.
which I hadn't eaten in mainland China. The taste of this food are fabulous.
Fabulous. Taste, not countable. So, the taste is fabulous. It takes my breath away. This is a very weird idiom to use when you talk about food.
Fabulous and take my breath away.
It is an idiom, but I mean, if you're going to be talking about food, why not say, and really makes my mouth water? Then you have an idiom connecting mouth with food. That makes much more sense, doesn't it? It's kind of an odd idiom to use.
So I really like Taipei.
Drop the summary.
The food, it is a beautiful street.
It's a beautiful street. I'm sure she meant to say city, but why she said street, I have no idea.
which part of the travel you think is the most important in your trip?
I don't even understand this question. Which part of the travel? Why is it the travel? Which part of travel do you think is most important in your trip? I don't understand the question. Maybe if you listen to the answer, the question might be more clear.
I think the people who I travel with is the most important part in my trip.
So maybe it's what is most important to you when you travel? What is most important to you when you travel? Maybe that's the question. The people who I travel with, so my fellow passengers or travel companions, something like that. Maybe passengers, if it's on an airplane. Maybe companions, if they go with you somewhere.
Most important part in my trip. Actually, my travel partner
Let's call him companion.
always been my husband. And we create new memories and refresh our marriages.
Refresh our marriages. So how many marriages are there? There's you and him, and who else? Just marriage, not marriages. Refresh our marriage. I mean, I do understand what she means, but we don't say refresh your marriage. Maybe she could say, and maybe like reignite the spark in our marriage. Maybe that's what you could say. Reignite the spark.
I refresh our marriages through traveling together.
Why does she go back? And she went back to marriages. I wonder why.
Says that I'm a really lazy person in traveling.
I'm a really lazy person when it comes to traveling.
So my husband takes care of me, and
Oh, okay. So she self-corrected. Never mind.
he's also the person who makes the traveling plans.
Travel plans.
He chooses
He chooses the hotels.
and decided transport.
Well, this is present tense. Here we go to past tense. He chooses the hotels and decides on the transportation. Chooses the. And here I can see she's going to say visiting sites and decides which sites to visit. And I don't know what the was. Maybe the food. Very good idiomatic language here. He has a good nose for something, so it means he knows where to find things. So he has a good nose for finding delicious food. That's actually pretty good. It's a good nose. Very nice.
And what's more, and this is the most important, he's very good at photography.
Well, good on her for not saying photography. We've heard so many people say photography instead of photography.
I really like the pictures he took for me.
The pictures he took of me. If you are the subject, the pictures are taken of you, not from you. If you take pictures from someone, it means you're stealing them.
Because I look very gorgeous in these pictures.
These pictures.
What kinds of cities do you like to travel to? The large cities, I can say, such as Shanghai, Beijing, or Guangzhou. Two reasons. Number one, loads of shopping centers can be found in the city.
Okay. I mean, as we've heard before, this guy loves using the passive to start his answers. This one again, passive, nothing wrong with that.
This is really important to me, since I will have the opportunity to spoil myself. Like the coffee shop, supermarket, different kinds of restaurant or such. It must be a wonderful place to me.
The supermarket is a wonderful place. Okay.
Number two, in large area. The improved public transportation is another point they like to talk about.
I don't understand the second point. Who is they? And improved compared to what? In large area. Oh, by the way, areas are countable. What?
Applies to me. Number 2, in large area.
In large areas. The improved public transportation. Improved. But if you visit a place, how do you know the transportation has been improved if you've never been there before? Who's they? And why don't they like to talk about this?
The improved public transportation is another point they like to talk about. It would take me to anywhere that I want.
It would take me to anywhere that I want. What is the... But that's what transportation does. It's not really necessary to explain the function of transportation.
It would take me to anywhere that I want. By the way, the price seems more reasonable.
The price of what? The price of the transportation. Well, I don't know. He uses phrases like, by the way, but they don't... The cohesion is very superficial. If you just look below that, below the words that he uses for deeper meaning, there's no meaning. This is so difficult to understand.
Price seems more reasonable. So as I've mentioned above, I'll feel much happier living in suburban area.
What is he talking about? So as I've mentioned above, you can only use above in writing, where you start at the top of the page, you write, and when you get to the middle, you say, oh, okay, as I mentioned above. In speaking, there's no above. So as I've mentioned, I'll feel much happier living in a suburban area or city. Well, he didn't mention it. I didn't see him mention it anywhere. And the question was, what kind of cities do you like to travel to? Now he's talking about living in suburban areas. I'm very confused about this answer.